So don't even start talking yet, because I'm going to describe to you the two paths that exist in front of you. The first path is to take the red hat off, retract your loyalty from Trump, and say that you no longer support him.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Genuinely so glad you are here for this one. So what you are about to watch is a debate between a host and a young Trump supporter, and the moment this conversation takes a turn, it goes places that I do not think either of them fully expected. The host starts walking this guest through a series of questions, step by step, getting agreement at every single stage, and then he connects all of it to something that was already publicly said and already on record. The guest had no idea what was coming until it was already too late. Stick with this one all the way through, because the second half of this conversation is where everything unravels, and trust me, you do not want to miss the moment the guest tries to argue his way out of his own answers. Also, I'm genuinely curious. Where in the world are you watching this from right now? Drop your city or country down in the comments. I love seeing how far this community reaches. All right, let us get into it.
Code switching, which is something that many black people in America do, because white people have deemed AAVE, African American Vernacular English, is bad, as uneducated, as ghetto, as crazy, as violent. I've even heard that one before. When AAVE is a perfectly valid vernacular of the English language, developed through the transatlantic slave trade in the early years of slavery in American history. But because of the suppositions of AAV on behest of white Americans historically and today, of it being everything I just said, bad, ghetto, uncouth, uneducated, so on and so forth, many black Americans will only speak in AAVE when in a group of disproportionately black people, but as soon as they're not in a group of disproportionately black people, they don't want to have those suppositions be made about them, so then they stop talking in AAVE. And you are criticizing Kamala Harris from seeing her on stage at a rally in Atlanta where she had a disproportionately black audience, making her subconsciously feel comfortable in speaking in AAVE compared to like a fucking rally in buttfuck middle of nowhere, Iowa with a 95% audience saying, oh, holy shit, if I speak in AAVE here, they're all going to think I am really uneducated, and I don't want them to think that because I'm running for president. And we're going to have to, call that racism out later, because right now I'm trying to save the fucking future of this country from a wannabe dictator who raped a woman, committed 34 felonies, and finds a new way to attack this country every day. All right? And even if we were to assume, 50% of my statement, I'm almost done. Even if we were to assume that I'm wrong and you're right, and Kamala Harris was changing her accent to be more appealing to the audience, I would agree that's weird as fuck. Is that weirder than raping somebody? No. Is it weirder than implementing the worst economic reform we've seen in modern American history, taking healthcare away from 10 million low-income Americans? No. Is it weirder than being in the Epstein files and defying Congress and breaking federal law to illegally hide files accusing you of child rape? No.
I mean, my thing with the Epstein files is right now, they're just accusations. We don't know for sure, because we had Bill Clinton. He did his deposition, and Hillary Clinton, but Bill Clinton's deposition, in his deposition, he said that they were acquaintances. That's it. And then they had a falling out over a land dispute. So we don't know.
So would you argue if you knew with certainty that Donald Trump had sexually exploited or raped anyone, that you'd stop supporting him?
I mean, if you're talking about the civil case, I really don't think there's a statute of limitations. I mean, for it to be a 30-year long, and then you want to try to bring it up in court. I mean,
you're not answering my question.
It's hard for me to...
If you knew with certainty that Donald Trump had sexually exploited or raped anybody, would you still support him as president?
Obviously not.
Okay. So we're going to go over the civil case and how you're wrong about that. We're going to go over the Epstein files and how you're wrong about that. But before we do, I'm going to operate off of that last suggestion that you made. You said if you knew with certainty that Donald Trump had sexually exploited anybody, you would stop supporting him as president. Can we agree that the definition of sexual exploitation would be to unjustly take advantage of somebody sexually?
Yeah, without their consent.
What Dean just broke down here is something that a lot of people get completely wrong, and I mean completely. The way he explained code switching, this is not a new concept. This is something that has been documented and studied for decades, and here is what makes it so important to understand. When you grow up in a society that tells you one way of speaking is professional and another way is not, you adapt. You learn when to switch, not because you are being fake, because you are being smart, because you are surviving in a system that judges you before you even finish your sentence. That is the reality for a lot of people, and Dean laid it out clearly, and here's the part that got me. He said something that I think a lot of people need to sit with. He basically said, even if you believe the accent switching was weird, now even if you think that was calculated or off-putting, you have to put that on a scale. On one side, you have an awkward speaking moment. On the other side, you have 34 felony convictions, the worst economic decisions this country has seen in a generation, and healthcare being stripped from millions of low-income Americans. Dean said it directly. He asked, "Is changing your accent weirder than all of that?" And the answer is obviously no. That is not even a close comparison. Here's what blows my mind, though. The guest spent actual energy criticizing a speaking style, not policy, not record, not documented decisions that affected real people's lives. A speaking style. And that tells you exactly where the argument was coming from. When you cannot attack the substance, you attack the surface, every single time. You have to understand that this is a pattern. It has always been a pattern. Find something that looks off, amplify it, make it the whole conversation, because the moment you start talking about actual policy, actual record, actual impact on working people, that is where the argument falls apart immediately.
Would an example of unjustly taking advantage of somebody sexually be for a man in a position of power to take advantage of a woman's position of vulnerability to further unconsensual sexual conduct?
Yeah.
Like barging into a dressing room made for women that you own, right? To then look
Yeah,
at them naked.
but
Right?
were
Yeah,
they
yeah, yeah.
naked though?
And yeah, like
Were they
naked with no
naked
clothes
naked,
on.
though?
And
They
this is
had no
actually
clothes
something.
on at all?
Yeah, no clothes on. And this is actually something that Donald Trump has done and admitted to.
As the owner of the pageant, it's your obligation to do that.
So you have done that. Now,
I'll tell you the funniest is that I'll go backstage before a show.
Yes.
And everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And, no men are anywhere. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. I'm inspecting.
Right,
I want to
right.
make sure that
You're like a
everything is
doctor.
good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? They're standing there with no clothes. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible-looking women. And so I sort of get away with things like that.
So don't even start talking yet, because I'm going to describe to you the two paths that exist in front of you. The first path is to take the red hat off, retract your loyalty from Trump, and say that you no longer support him. Why? Because you said, and I quote, if he sexually exploited anybody, you would stop supporting him as president. You then accepted that the definition of sexual exploitation is to take advantage of somebody sexually unjustly or without consent. And then you accepted that a male owner of a beauty pageant barging into the dressing rooms made for the women and girls at that beauty pageant to then look at their naked bodies unconsensually would be unjustly taking advantage of them sexually. Therefore, it would be sexual exploitation. Therefore, Donald Trump did admit to sexual exploitation. Therefore, you know with certainty that Donald Trump engaged in sexual exploitation. Therefore, you're no longer a Trump supporter in accordance with your own arguments. Mark, thank you for the galaxy. Now, the second path that you have here would be to be a raging, spineless, brainless hypocrite, annoy me, annoy us all. Say, you still support Trump. Come up with some lousy excuse like, okay, Dean, I don't support his personality, but I do support him as president. Or, okay, Dean, well, actually, I don't really think that's too wrong. Do we know that they're naked? Even though he said they had no clothes on. And don't worry, I'll be able to destroy you there too. Now, I've actually learned throughout doing my debates that the most, oh my goodness, Momo's being so cute. That the most effective and productive way to manage this situation is to just give you a moment to genuinely, ow, fuck, Momo, she's eating me, is to genuinely think about it. Because I feel like when I'm just passing that mic straight away, your gut reaction is to stay in debate mode and try
Well, could I ask a question
It's just
without
trying to come up with a reason why I'm wrong. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. She's biting me.
She's a Trump supporter, bro.
But, so just take a moment, think about it.
This is the moment everything shifted, and I need you to pay close attention to how Dean set this up, because it was surgical. He did not come in aggressive. He did not yell. He asked a simple question first. He asked the guest, if you knew with certainty that someone in power had taken advantage of people, would you still support them? And the guest said, and I am not paraphrasing here, the guest said, obviously not. That one answer is what locked the entire thing in place, because Dean immediately followed it with a step-by-step breakdown. What does exploitation actually mean? The guest agreed on the definition. What would an example look like? The guest agreed on the example. And then Dean connected it directly to something that was already publicly admitted, already on record, already documented. And then he said this. He told the guest there are two paths in front of you. The first path is to take the red hat off and say you no longer support him. The second path is to be a hypocrite. There was no third option. Dean did not leave a door open. He closed every single exit before the guest even had a chance to reach for one. Here is what I find genuinely fascinating about this technique. It is actually rooted in something called the Socratic method. It goes back to ancient Greek philosophy. You do not argue with someone. You ask questions until their own answers build the conclusion for you. The guest did not get trapped by Dean. The guest got trapped by his own previous statements. That is the difference, and that is why it landed so hard.
And I'm going to thank a couple people real quick.
I was trolling, bro.
Thank you so much for the $20 over on YouTube Super Chat, Full Band. I appreciate you so much. Full Band with the $20 says that this person is just too stupid for real life. Well, I appreciate you so much for the $20, Full Band. Show some up to Full Band down below in that chat, everybody. Show some up to Full Band down below in that chat. I really appreciate you for the $20. Mulaney, thank you for the $10 who says God sees your work, and we all thank you. I appreciate you so much for the love, Mulaney. Show some up to Mulaney. Momo! That hurts. Kitty. Thank you so much for the $10. I appreciate you, Mulaney. Mary, thank you so much for the $20 over on Venmo. Oh, fuck. Ow. Thank you. Oh, Momo's hot today. Appreciate you so much for the $20, Mary. I appreciate you so much for that love. Let's get 200 Mary W's down below in that comment section. Thank you so much for the love, Mary. Mary with the $20 says for Momo food because she's clearly starving to death trying to eat cords. Mary sent that donation in 11 minutes ago, and I think I should have probably took the warning here because she went from trying to eat the cords to trying to eat me. Let's get 200 Mary W's down below in that comment section. And then Amanda, thank you for the $5. And then we just have one more here. Holy shit. Dude, Michael, thank you so much for the $100 donation over on Venmo. Oh my God. Let's get 1,000 Michael W's down below in the chat on TikTok and YouTube. Michael, thank you so very much for the love. That is so insanely kind of you. Oh my goodness. Michael, the $100 donation says, love you, Dean Michael. You know I love you too, man. Thank you so much for your kindness. Thank you so much for the generosity. If we could please have every single person watching show some love to Michael down below in that comment section, man. You know what my thoughts are, Michael. I don't deserve that much kindness. No fucking way, bro. Just know that I really appreciate you. It is so undeserved. Let's get 1,000 Michael W's. Let's also get 300 John W's because John sent a $30 donation over on Venmo and he attached the message just because. Thank you so much for the support, John. You were awesome, awesome, awesome. As well as Alexis, thank you so much for the really kind gifts over on TikTok. Thank you so much for that support. Then also Kyla, thank you so much for the $12 over on Venmo. Who says the guests don't ever think as to why a woman would want to keep something they don't want. Also, people destroy forests every day, which harms society and animals, but they're so worried about a fetus, not a baby. Yep, thank you for the $12, Kyla. Misty, thank you for the $10. Appreciate you so much for that love. Who says civil case, not simple case, statute of limitations. Not statute of limitations, for fuck's sakes, to the scholars the definition of an uneducated American.
It's statute, right?
Fry their ass, Misty. Thank you for the $10. And then Sarah, thank you for the $10 as well. He says, changed a Trump supporter's mind today from everything I've learned from you. Thank you for what you do. Fuck yes, let's go, Sarah. I'm so proud of you. Show some love to Sarah, Kyla, and Misty down below in that chat. Show some love to John and Michael down below in that chat. I appreciate the hell out of y'all. We're all caught up on Super Chat. We're all caught up on Venmo. I think that we just have a few people to thank over on PayPal. We'll go to pass the mic back to the guests. Rowan, thank you so much for the $10 over on PayPal. Let's get 100 Rowan W's, who says, I've been watching you for a while, and you and Parker keeping me sane. Glad to see somebody my age succeeding and advocating. Fuck yeah, Rowan. Thank you so much for the $10. Shayna, thank you so much for the $10 as well. Who says, I've been listening before Jubilee. First time donating because I usually listen in the car. Thank you for all that you do. Well, Sabrina, dude, that is crazy. You've been watching for so long, Sabrina. Thank you for the $10. I appreciate you for supporting what we do. And we're all caught up. So the mic goes back to you guys. Are you going to take path number 1 or path number 2?
Well, I was just going to ask a question. Like, it doesn't mean I fully...
Go ahead.
It doesn't mean like I fully agree with it yet. I just have one question. Did they have did people in the beauty pageant, did they come out and say that he did this?
Yes.
See, why didn't they follow a lawsuit or file a lawsuit on it, or did they?
Why is that relevant?
I mean, a rich person, because my thing is with what Donald Trump said and only what Donald Trump said is, I look at it as he said some pretty messed up things right there, but I don't feel like he was being truthful. Like, bro, you know how many times, when I was younger, bro, I lied about having sex with a girl. like to my boys, like
Yeah, so
like
that's
just like
embarrassing for
kissing a
you.
girl.
Listen, that's
Like
embarrassing. That's really embarrassing for you.
it's just
However,
locker room talk,
it's
bro.
not a
Like
it's not even locker room talk. It's just like weird antisocial behavior, misogynistic too. But anyways, the reason why a lot of men will lie about sleeping with a woman is to attempt to make themselves look more valuable on the social hierarchy. By saying, hey, this really attractive woman wanted to have sex with me. This really attractive woman wanted to kiss me. This really attractive woman wanted to be with me. And for that reason, like when we hear men boast about, like, are claiming that they've had sex with a woman that in all reality they didn't, okay, they're doing so in the sense of like consensually. They're saying they're doing so in the sense of saying, well, they wanted to sleep with me. I've never really heard a man like falsely claim to like rape a woman or sexually exploit a girl when in all reality they were innocent and they didn't do it.
Okay. So after Dean laid all of that out, gave the guest time to think, thanked his supporters, came back, the guest's response was to say he does not think the admission was even truthful. He said, Dean, I do not feel like he was being truthful. And then he compared it to lying to his friends about girls when he was younger. I need you to really sit with that for a second. The guest essentially argued that a person in a major public position, who had access to a microphone, who was speaking to a national audience, chose to publicly claim something deeply damaging about himself, not because it was true, but just to sound cool. That is the argument. That is what he went with, and Dean dismantled it immediately. He explained exactly why men sometimes exaggerate stories to appear more desirable, to seem like someone others want to be around. The logic of that kind of exaggeration only works in one direction. You exaggerate things that make you look good. You do not publicly claim that you walked into spaces where people had no idea you were coming and looked at them without permission, and frame that as a flex, unless you actually believe you had the right to do it. That is the part Dean nailed. The framing of the original statement was not someone bragging about being desired. It was someone bragging about access, about getting away with something. Those are two completely different things, and the guest either did not see that distinction or chose to ignore it. And this is what gets me every single time I watch moments like this. The defense is never, he did not do it. Yet the defense is always, well, maybe it did not mean what it sounds like. Maybe he was joking. Maybe it was a different era. The goalposts keep moving because the foundation is not stable. And when the foundation is not stable, no argument built on top of it is going to hold either. What Dean did across this entire segment was patient, methodical, and impossible to argue against because every single step was built on what the guest himself already agreed to. You cannot walk back your own words when someone is holding them right in front of you. So what do you guys think of this? Leave your thoughts down in the comments. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.